Welcome to Mobile Home Friend YouTube channel, your go-to resource for everything manufactured housing.
Welcome to another deep dive from Mobile Home Friend. Today we are looking at a problem that, let's be honest, a lot of homeowners see but maybe don't fully get: marriage wall failures. That's right, and based on our latest research of mobilehomefriend.com, we're about to show you why that little crack you see up on your ceiling is so much more than just a cosmetic issue. Okay, let's just start with this quote because it really cuts right to the chase. After flipping over 100 units, one of our top experts over on the Mobile Home Friend website put it this way: "I've never seen a cosmetic marge wall crack that didn't have a foundation root cause." Wow, that is such a powerful statement. It's not just a theory, it's from decades of real-world hands-on experience. What you're seeing on the surface is almost always a sign of a much deeper problem. And that experience leads us straight into what we call the $500 drywall trap. This is exactly where so many homeowners go wrong. You see that crack, you think it's a quick, simple fix, and that's when a very expensive mistake begins. I mean, you can picture it, right? The typical thought process is, oh, it's just a crack in the drywall. I'll get some spackle, some tape, maybe a little paint, and it'll be good as new. Exactly. But as we explain on the Mobile Home Friend website, that is, to be blunt, a low-intelligence financial move. It is literally like putting a little piece of electrical tape over your car's check engine light and pretending the problem just disappeared. So, to really avoid falling into that trap, you've got to understand what a marriage wall actually is, right? Because it is so much more than just a seam in your ceiling. We're talking about the structural backbone of your entire home. Yeah, that's the key right there. It's not really a wall in the way you normally think of one. It's a structural interface. The best way to think of it is like the spine of your house. It's the exact spot where the two halves of your home are literally bolted together, creating one single, unified structure. It carries the entire weight of the roof all the way down to the foundation. And you know, this chart right here really just lays it all out. It shows the massive difference between a cosmetic fix and a real structural solution. Yeah, look at that. You can see that just resealing the seam, the cosmetic part, is pretty cheap. But the actual structural work, the re-leveling, that's where the real cost is, and more importantly, that's where the real value is. That cheap fix is just throwing money down the drain. Okay, so if the crack in the drywall isn't the real problem, what is? Well, if you take one thing away from this whole explainer, let it be this: that crack is just a symptom. It's a sign of a much bigger issue, which is that your foundation is failing. And the numbers, they don't lie. The data totally backs this up. We're talking 90% of the time, a marriage wall crack points directly to foundation failure. It's almost never about the drywall. It's about the very ground your home is sitting on. Right, and the technical term for what's happening is differential settlement. It just means one side of your home is sinking into the ground faster than the other. And the logic, as we break it down on the Mobile Home Friend website, is incredibly simple. If the floor isn't level, that marriage wall just cannot stay tight. It's impossible. It's just a matter of physics, period. Now, this is where things can get even trickier. You absolutely cannot use the same repair methods for a manufactured home that you would for a site-built home. That's so crucial. Manufactured homes are built to a completely different standard, specifically HUD codes that are engineered to allow for a certain amount of flex. If you go and hire a contractor who doesn't get this distinction, they can actually make the problem so much worse. If you want a deeper dive on this, you've got to check out the full post on mobilehomefriend.com. So you get the cause now. But what actually happens if you just do nothing? This is the point where a simple little crack in the drywall blows up into a major financial decision with some really serious long-term consequences. I mean, this chart really just lays out two very different financial futures for your home. It's a fork in the road. On one path, you fix the problem correctly and your home can appreciate in value, just like any other property. But on the other path, if you ignore it, you are looking at a huge drop in value over the next decade. And let's put a hard number on that. Over 10 years, the difference between fixing this problem the right way and just ignoring it, it can be as much as $80,000. That is the true cost of that simple crack in your ceiling. It's a shocking number. And it gets worse. It really doesn't stop there. A home with a known unrepaired structural defect is often completely unfinanceable for a future buyer, which means your pool of potential buyers just shrinks down to almost nothing. It makes it incredibly difficult to ever sell your home. We go into a lot more detail on the financing side of this on the Mobile Home Friend website. Okay, that was a lot of bad news, I know, but here's the good news. This is a fixable problem. You just have to be smart about it. You need to know exactly what to do and what to look for. So from now on, I want you to think of that crack as the check engine light for your home. It's a warning you can't ignore. And here is a super simple rule of thumb from our article. If that crack is wider than 1/4 of an inch, it's a pretty safe bet that your home is more than an inch out of level. And that is a serious issue. So here's your action plan. First, get a professional to come out and check the level of your home every single year. And then every 5 years or so, make sure the lag bolts holding that marriage line together are tight. You also need to keep an eye out for a V-shaped dip in your roof line. That's another big red flag. The key takeaway here really is to focus on the piers, not the paint. So all of this brings us to our final question for you to think about. Is that crack in your ceiling just your house settling, like people always say? Or is it a warning sign that the structural backbone of your home is actually failing? Thanks for watching. For more guides and the full article on this topic, head over to mobilehomefriend.com. And don't forget to check the links in the description below.
Thanks for watching. For more technical guides on this topic, click the link to see the in-depth article over at mobilehomefriend.com. There are many more informational dives into manufactured home topics to investigate and keep your project moving forward.